Good morning and welcome to Begin in the Word. Our text today comes from Hebrews 12, verse 18 through 24. The Bible says, "For you have not come to what may be touched, a blazing fire and darkness and gloom and a tempest, and the sound of a trumpet and a voice whose words made the hearers beg that no further messages be spoken to them. For they could not endure the order that was given, if even a beast touches the mountain, it shall be stoned. Indeed, so terrifying was the sight that Moses said, I tremble with fear. But you have come to Mount Zion and to the city of the living God, the heavenly Jerusalem, and to an innumerable angels in festal gathering, and to the assembly of the firstborn who are enrolled in heaven, and to God, the judge of all, and to the spirits of righteous made perfect, and to Jesus, the mediator of a new covenant, and to the sprinkled blood that speaks a better word than the blood of Abel." This text tells us a story of two mountains, a tale of two mountains. The book of Hebrews works through explaining to us how that Christ is better than the old covenant. He's better than the angels. His rest is better than Moses. His priesthood is better than the old priesthood. His sacrifices are better. His worship is better than the worship in the tabernacle. In every respect, Christ is better. And now, in summary statement, the Hebrew author is explaining to us how that the promises of Christ all rolled together are better than the promises that were given at the old mountain. This first mountain that's being discussed, you may remember, is told in the book of Exodus. An incredible image is given to us there of the people of God having escaped Egypt, following the pillar of fire at night, the pillar of cloud during the day. They are led to a mountain. This fire settles on the top of the mountain, and God speaks to them from this mountain. And the people were horrified at everything that they saw and heard. The Hebrew writer describes it to us in summary, saying that it was a blazing fire as this great firestorm settled on top of the mountain. Incredible heat and incredible fire on top of the mountain. That also, even though it was fire, there was a great darkness that fell over the mountain. Darkness so that you could not see, and a sense of gloom. Heaviness was in the air that overwhelmed the people. And this firestorm that was on top, he describes as a tempest, an incredible storm of God and his fire on the mountain. And from this great storm, a voice of God began to speak the law, and to the people it sounded as if it were a great trumpet. And it was a sound that was so horrible, they begged not to hear it any further because it was so overwhelming to them. Rather, they asked Moses to go up into the mountain instead. They could not stand to hear the voice of God. God explained to them to set barricades around the mountain because even if a beast were to touch the mountain, it must be stoned. This whole scene was so terrifying, so horrifying, that Moses, the man who spoke with God, said, I tremble with fear. We have not come to this mountain, but if you come to God alone, this is the mountain you do come to. If you come to God without help, without representation, this is the representation of God that you must face. Horrifying gloom filled with darkness, a tempest, sound that you cannot bear. The Hebrew writer explains to us, no, Christ is better. With Christ, this is not the mountain we have come to. He says, no, but you have come to Mount Zion. Now, Mount Zion is this mountain on which the city of Jerusalem is built. Mount Sinai, down in the Arabian desert, is where the children of Israel came to after they left Egypt. But you and I have come to Mount Zion. And he begins to explain to us what Mount Zion is. To be clear, the Hebrew writer is talking about the saved of Christ, the people that have been saved. What is it we have come to? As we have escaped the sin of this world, just like they escaped Egyptian slavery, they came to Mount Sinai. You and I have also come to a mountain, but we have come to Mount Zion. The first thing that comes to mind when you mention Mount Zion is the way the prophets spoke of the children of Israel returning from their Babylonian captivity. And the description, one example, Isaiah 35:10, is a description of great joy as they came across the desert from their captivity, coming from the east into this new city where they were looking forward to living with God. And in this text here in Isaiah, it's described that they returned to Zion with singing. You read through Isaiah and the other prophets, you'll see that they returned where the mountains were made level and the valleys were made full, opening up their paths. Voices were heard, speaking the great news for them. The Hebrew writer also explains this as the city of the living God that they have come to. And the prophets continue that theme as they talk about coming into Zion, that they're coming into this incredible city of God. Psalms 48, walk about Zion, go around her, number her towers, consider her ramparts, go through her citadels, that you may tell the next generation that this is God, our God forever and ever. He will guide us forever. The Hebrew writer is telling us that we are seeing the final culmination of this great Mount Zion, of this city of the living God, when we come to Christ. It's a great rejoicing of singing and laughter and joy of returning to the city of God. And here he makes it clear what he's talking about when he calls it the heavenly Jerusalem. No, we're not returning to the literal city of Jerusalem, the literal mountain of Zion. No, we're returning to a heavenly Jerusalem. We're coming to a heavenly thing. We studied a few days ago in Colossians 1, verse 16, how that Christ reconciled to himself all things in heaven and in earth, visible and invisible. We talked about these two areas of creation, how that in Christ and in his cross, they are finally and once for all brought together. This heavenly Jerusalem is that union of new creation where all things come together in Christ. One of the main reasons I wanted to look at this text today, we have come to this great celebration that it is called an innumerable angels in festal gathering. The word festal that is used here is a word from classic Greek, a term that speaks of a whole nation, all citizens of a nation coming together in a great festival. The writer of Hebrews is explaining to us that we have come, in coming to Christ, we have come to a great festival, a festival that includes so many angels you cannot count them. That's what you and I are a part of. We are a part of an innumerable company of angels that have come together in a great festival. Look over here, you'll see the cherubim. Look to the throne of God, you'll see the seraphim as they hover above the throne of God, shouting, holy, 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 holy. Over here at this table, you'll see the thrones, and over there the dominions, over there the principalities and the powers, and all of these spirit beings that we studied the last few days. They have come together, those that have remained true to Christ, in this great festal gathering. The 10,000s of 10,000s of 10,000s of them. And that's what you and I are a part of when we are a part of Christ. The Hebrew writer calls it the assembly of the firstborn who are enrolled in heaven. The assembly of the firstborn is a term, or the term firstborn is a term we learned in Colossians 1:18 earlier last week, where we learned that this is talking about Christ being the firstborn from the grave, that he was the first part of new creation, the first time that a physical body would be resurrected, but to never die again, to be changed into a glorious being. The word assembly here is the word ecclesia, which is usually translated as church. That's what we've come to. We have come to the church. We're a part of the church now, this church of the firstborn from the grave. When we have come to Mount Zion, to the city of the living God, to the heavenly Jerusalem, to an innumerable company of angels in festal gathering, that's what we have come to. We have come to God, the judge of all. We think of God, the judge, as in that dark and gloomy mountain where he is casting evil into the lake of fire. But don't miss that God is also a God that passes judgment on the righteous. Psalms 50 is a text that talks about this, where he says, "Gather to me my faithful ones who made a covenant with me by sacrifice. The heaven declares his righteousness, for God himself is judge. God will also judge the righteous. As we flow into this great city of God, as we come to be a part of this great festival before God, God judges us worthy, not because of our works, but because we wear the righteousness of Christ. And so God being our judge is an incredible thing, because He looks upon us and finds us worthy to live in this new creation. We have come to the spirits of righteous men made perfect. You know that thing that troubles you about Sister Bertha better than you? That will be corrected, because now we are the righteous made perfect. We will have been made complete. 1 Corinthians 15:49 tells us that we will take on the image of the man of heaven. The righteousness of Christ will ultimately and finally be infused to us so that we become like Him. It will be a new heavens and new earth where righteousness dwells. Those things that trouble you about yourself, those failings and those flaws, those sins, they will ultimately and finally be overwhelmed by the righteousness of Christ. It's a work in progress today. It's a work that will finally be realized in our resurrection as we enter the new heavens and new earth. We have come to Jesus, the mediator of a new covenant, where this passage in Jeremiah 31:33 will finally and ultimately be complete, where His law will be infused into our hearts, and we will be His people. The work that is now underway will be finalized. This last statement is an amazing one. That first mountain spoke of the violence of man, the failings of man, the brokenness of mankind. The same thing that the blood of Abel said to God about the disaster that man has made of himself, of the violence that is in this world, of the problems that we bring on ourselves, of the death that we bring to one another. This blood of Abel spoke this to God. That's the first mountain. That's not what we've come to. We have come to the blood of Christ, which corrects all of those things. That's what we have come to. Friend, let me ask you, are you part of Christ? Are you walking into that city today? Have you put Him on in baptism? Are you following His commands? Are you attending the assemblies of the church? Why not? Why do you stand at the foot of the mountain of darkness and gloom with nothing but the violence of the blood of Abel to testify to what your life is all about? Why not come to Christ? Embrace the new creation that Christ began at His resurrection. I leave these words of encouragement with you. I hope today, as you have begun today in the Word of God, you will live out today in the Word of God.